And welcome back to RFD-TV Live with our friends from AGROTAIN, Koch Agronomic Services. A great visit here this week. Twice we get to visit with our friends Monday night and back tonight for Volume 2. And in between opening the Commodity Classic earlier today and day one. Long day for these gentlemen. They're back at it tomorrow. If you're in Nashville and watching us, please stop by. If you didn't have a chance today, stop by the AGROTAIN booth and just say hi and Koch Agronomic Services and meet the great people that they have there. And we're going to be there tomorrow. If you are in Nashville, we are going to be recording a live program with our friends from AGROTAIN. It'll be 11:30 Central Time tomorrow. So spend part of your day with us right around that lunch area. So when you got to get hungry, come to get some food, we'll be right there next door. All right, let's go to our telephones. Let's put the phone number up one more time in case you'd like to visit with us and didn't get that phone number written down. It's toll free, 877-731-6733. Again, lines open now, and time is getting short here. Let's go to Montana. Our first call. Jim, you're up first. Welcome to RFD-TV Live. You there, Jim?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead, please.
We have great nitrogen loss. We put nitrogen on our hay, and it's sub-irrigated. We have to put it on before the frost goes out in the end of March, and we don't get our water till the 1st of May, and sometimes we lose half our nitrogen. Would AGROTAIN help us?
Thanks for the call, Jim.
Yeah, Jim, that's a great question. So I assume that you use urea, nitrogen as your fertilizer source. And so, yeah, definitely AGROTAIN nitrogen stabilizer will help protect that nitrogen investment. It'll help reduce nitrogen loss for sure. And it's a good choice in that environment.
You mentioned earlier, and Jim asked that question, you talked about wet and dry, and with that time lapse in between there, again, that has to do with weather, obviously, in between.
Right. The thing that really hurts is when you put on the fertilizer and then you go from a long period without rain to wash that fertilizer into the soil. And so that's the problem in his situation.
And Martin, you probably run into that a little bit there in your territories. You go north, those shorter seasons, and he's in Montana. And sure. They sometimes don't have a lot of choices up there as far as when they get that on.
No, they really don't. And Dr. Engel's work from Montana State clearly indicates what cold weather and volatility can go on, and he's experiencing this loss in his applications. And so using, AGROTAIN treated urea, I assume it's urea he was using, would help him immensely.
All right, let's go to Arkansas. Kenneth, thank you for calling. You're up next with Martin and Greg.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
My question is it feasible to put AGROTAIN in liquid fertilizer like 32% that we knife in on our cotton or side dress?
Yeah, so when you're knifing in urea fertilizers like UAN 32, AGROTAIN is not as useful because that nitrogen is placed below the soil surface, and that below the soil surface helps to prevent loss. But what you might want to select is AGROTAIN Plus, which has the other inhibitor that also prevents loss when the soils get wet. So if you have heavy soils that tend to get wet and stay wet, then that AGROTAIN Plus will help prevent that nitrogen loss.
All right, let's go to Florida. Billy, thank you for calling. You're up next, and welcome.
Thank you.
You bet.
Would there be any benefit or any reason to put AGROTAIN on just pasture grass and hay fields? I don't have crops.
Okay. Thanks for the call, by the way, Billy.
Certainly is, and in fact, one of our bigger applications throughout my territory in the pasture areas, because I have a lot of areas in Wisconsin for pasturing, and they use a lot of AGROTAIN treated urea on those pastures because that is an ideal volatility zone in a high residue zone like a grass field for volatility. So using AGROTAIN in their nitrogen there would show them a true benefit in more growth for their dollar spent in nitrogen.
Okay. Anything to add about pastures?
Yeah,
there?
I mean pastures, like Martin said, a lot of times the urea gets hung up on the grass itself and doesn't even make contact with the soil, and so you can imagine how that would lead to much higher loss conditions than if it's in contact with the soil itself.
Sure. Very good. Our telephone number for you to join us live here, as the other callers have around the country. Look forward to hearing from you with our time remaining. Number is toll free, 877-731-6733. Lines are open. Let us hear from you. No matter what crop, we've already had a cotton question. Hay and forage, we knew that they perhaps might be coming. crops, row crops as well. We'd like to hear from you at that toll-free number. And if people don't get through tonight, Greg, we're with a place where we want to make sure we leave them with information of where they can get more information about these great products.
Right. We have a really great website, AGROTAIN.com, and what's on there is a little search engine to find your local AGROTAIN representative. And so all you have to do, type in your zip code. They don't ask for any other information, and it points you to the AGROTAIN representative that's in your area.
Very good.